Good morning, and welcome back to the Accountability Room, where women gather to talk about accounting, building a practice, and everything in between. I'm your host, Becca Chafee, and I'm proud to introduce Co Gophan, founder of Strategic Alliance Group, and Heather Taylor, founder of Roundup Accounting and Advisory. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning.
How is everyone today?
So good. So good, and so thankful to be here with you. Last week, we talked about delegating without micromanaging and what it looks like to let go while still leading well. So, before we jump in, how did that show up for you, ladies?
Well, for me, since I am a solo practice, I
Mm-hmm.
delegate everything to myself. So it went really well. Uh, so, yeah, still trying to let go of things that don't really matter. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the book or the phrase, don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where am right now, not trying to sweat the small stuff.
Yes. It's such an important reminder. As you're saying that, I love the visual of when you see, yourself sitting somewhere and then you zoom out and it's like your whole city and then your whole state and then the US and then the whole world and then the galaxy and you're like, I don't have time for small stuff. Like I'm just riding around on this beautiful space rock and it's time to just enjoy what I want to enjoy. So,
Exactly. Enjoy the moment.
yes. I love that. So, with that though, one of the things I know you're a solo firm, and I am so proud of you for that. You're so brave and inspiring to do that, both of you. Same with Jen. But sometimes I feel like we have to delegate even by outsourcing. Have you ever found that you need to do that by outsourcing on small scale, maybe implementing a new software to help you take off some of those tasks, or have you tried outsourcing any tasks to like I don't know, Fiverr or any of your marketing things? Or no, you're like, nope, I got it. I'm still holding on to everything and I'm just super organized.
I have delegated the data entry.
Oh, good.
I hired, as you all know, my niece part-time,
Yeah.
so she's been doing the data entry. So that has freed up time for me to do other things, focus more on the business instead of being
Yes.
in the business. And I have, as far as marketing, Fiverr, is it Fiverr, Fever?
Yeah.
However you pronounce that.
Oh.
They have done, little things for me, like landing pages
Oh,
and
nice. Yeah.
logos and things of that nature for me. But everything else, I am doing it. I am switching over to Microsoft platform.
Okay.
And so the last week, I have been on the call with them. Every day I call them. They probably know my number by heart now. I'm calling them on the phone. I'm learning things. I'm the IT person. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
admin. I'm everything. I'm learning things that I didn't think I would be learning or wanted to learn, but I'm the person that's being delegated to. And as
Yes.
far as you said, as far as outsourcing,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have it in the budget. So if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
it in the budget, you find yourself doing everything, whether you want to or not. And
That
that's
is
where I
so
am
true.
right now.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that is so true. And I feel like that's a really good reminder to bring back to a large part of the people that we're hoping to reach are the ones that are, maybe going out on their own or sort of dipping their toes in it. And you're spot on that eventually they'll make that shift into the outsourcing and delegation headspace. But sometimes it really is just in the trenches, doing it, figuring it out as you go. Valid.
Exactly.
How
I
about
think we
you,
all
Miss
start
Heather? How do things
there.
show up for
Yeah,
you?
see, we all start there, right? We all start with it's just us, and unless we start with a partner, we're all there and we're just going for it. So
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
I do. My husband works for me part time, so he does a lot of data entry. He is an outdoors person, so he never expected to be in front of the computer, and definitely he never took classes in accounting or anything.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a learning process. My daughter worked for us a little bit before she went to college. But yeah, most of it falls on my shoulders. So I would say my biggest outsourcing is like softwares, instead of doing all the work myself, um, I implemented Double to be able to help me with the audit review. And there's little things like that that we can do that to help take back that time, make us more efficient.
Yeah.
And so delegating to software is definitely. I built my own website. Like I've done my own marketing. I did join a group not very long ago. And the gal that runs the group have interns. So all of these college students who are not quite done with college, but they want to learn the actual in the business ways of doing things, especially on the marketing team. So I just joined with her, and we're looking at possibilities of having her interns as part of that group, so the interns can get that experience to help with website building and a couple of those different things. So
I think
that's
that
something that I'm looking at, but haven't implemented yet. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
great.
yeah, I think it's brilliant, and I think it's good to dig into. Jen and I want to commend your strength for looking into that. And here's what, let me preface with why I'm saying your strength and your bravery with welcoming interns, because they need a chance. They need to be given a shot to learn. We all eventually were given a chance, and that's how we learned. And Jen and I recently toured a technical school that has like a business accounting platform where they work with local companies to offer an externship for students. So the students are paid, but they're technically still students. And so they need to have highly supervised work environments, confirmation of what they'll be learning. We met with the people who create the curriculum and their teachers to say, like, this is what our firm would offer and so forth. And we left feeling a couple of things. One, inspired and thankful that there are programs like that that'll give these students a chance, and terrified because she and I do things in such a specific way. And in accounting, you're dealing with somebody's most personal information. And so bringing on a student is like, I don't think we're quite ready for that. I was like, we almost need to have a sandbox or some sort of test environment for these students to really play in and work through. But it was funny because I started so gung ho and so excited about it. And then it was, we started getting into the nitty gritty. I was like, that's actually so vulnerable. We didn't yet feel comfortable with it. And so I love that you're doing it. I'm like, tell me what you learn. You're so brave.
Mm.
But yeah,
worked with our
Uh,
interns a couple of times. And really, it's not different than if I was to come work for you. It's still vulnerable. It's still somebody that is in your business, right? Their fingers are in what you're doing. Um, and I think it comes down to like your SLPs and having something built that they can follow so that they know your structure, but then also that confidentiality, that having your paperwork in place so that they're signing non-compete agreements and signing those confidentiality forms. And I think being open to your clients too, because I have clients and I let them know, hey, I have an intern that I'm working with, or I have a student that I'm teaching. They could really love to help. Could I let them into your class to see? And I have some clients who are like, no, please don't. And I respect and I respect their wish. And I have other clients that are like, oh, that would be awesome. Or, hey, I know somebody that they're just
oh,
getting
cool.
started. And so I've been able to connect a couple of the little students I've taught with
That is cool.
small businesses who were just getting started in their bookkeeping. And then they're learning along the way with them. And then they have me for that sounding board. And that's been really fulfilling for me to be able to help them make those connections. Because there's those businesses seeking that
mhm.
help. There's those students seeking that experience, and then being able to be that third party that's making these connections. It it actually had a few this week, so it's been kind of fun.
That's
Right,
cool.
and then with the right, systems in place, SOPs
Right.
that we
So
touched
true.
bases on last time we spoke, structure, systems, SOPs. You shouldn't be that's that fear creeping in, Becca.
Yes, it is.
You gotta
It
let it go. If
is.
you have everything in place for them and you can just guide them.
Mhm.
There for the guidance. And then there's you can write an SOP for
That's so
interns.
true. And we
Uh-huh.
all needed that. We all needed to have somebody, like we all come out so green. right? We need to have a safe
Mhm.
space to be nurtured and to grow. And so I do love that you guys are doing that, which that actually is a good chance to transition a little bit into today's topic, which is that CEO identity versus operator identity. And that fear
Mhm.
piece that I'm talking about is very operator identity of like,
Mhm.
oh, but I need to do it. And you guys are both sharing more of that CEO identity. So the reason we're talking about this is at some point in business, the work isn't really the challenge anymore. It's letting go, right? From being the person who does everything the certain way and being the day to day person who does it, really the bottleneck, and transitioning into leading the vision.
Mhm.
So talk to me about that. How does that show up for the two of you? How are you making that transition from operator to visionary, or yeah, operator to CEO, I guess would be the example here.
Well, for me, I am the CEO
Hmm.
and I am also the COO.
Hmm.
So I'm the CEO and the operator. So I have to think about the direction that I want the firm to go in, what I want it to look like, how I want it to grow. um the strategic have to be strategic, about the way you think and about the way you go about doing things. But
Yeah.
then on the other hand, by like I said, you mentioned earlier, Becca, you can outsource certain things, but
Hmm.
if it's not in your budget, then you become the operator as well.
Yeah.
So you have to whatever the vision or direction that the CEO sets, you're the one that also has to execute.
Yeah.
So CEO, you got the vision. COO, operator, you have to execute what that vision is. So I have to do everything right now. And sometimes it gets a little tough. Everything is in my head because I know what I want it to look like. So it's not that bad because you know what you want it to look at like. So maybe how to execute it, but you may have to bring at some point people with the expertise who could do that for you so you can just concentrate on the vision and the strategic and the clients and things like that.
As you're sharing that, though, I'm thinking about how important it is to navigate, because you are right. You are managing both, and especially with all of these startups or smaller firms, you're right. Like the leader is the CEO and the operator. And part of me feels like it's really important to build time into your day to switch the ball cap to right
Mhm.
now in my CEO cap, because otherwise I think what really can happen is if you stay in operator mode, because there's endless tasks. Like you could work easily 16-hour days and just keep doing tasks. And so maybe it's not fully switching from one identity to the other for good. Maybe it's dipping your toes into that. And how do you make time in your day to work on instead of in? Jen and I talk about that a lot. Like she loves to work on the business, but she is deep in the business because it's her license that we operate off of. It's how we, it's her knowledge that we use to support the clients. We're very respectful with making sure she's the one that's tying up and navigating the books. And that's operator focused. And she's so wanting to move into the visionary piece because it's fun and it's exciting. So maybe time blocking, I don't know, but how to make sure yeah, go ahead, Heather.
So I actually do a lot of time blocking. And for a lot of years, it's probably just been, well, I'll say I've dabbled in it, right? I've dipped my toes. I stepped out of the mud in the deep of, in the business. But it's intentional. And
Hmm.
that's what I found for myself was it wasn't intentional in working on my business because I got so sucked into working in the business
Yeah,
that I got stuck. I I've been in business for several years and I got stuck. I wasn't growing and I was getting frustrated with the visionary part of it because I had this vision, I had this goal of where I wanted to be, but I
yeah,
was stuck in the in the business piece.
right.
So time blocking and being intentional, saying, okay, right now I am not going to think about my clients. I'm not going to think about the work I have to do. I'm going to look at my mission. I'm going to look at my goals. I'm going to look at my tasks And as I've done that this year, because I kind of dove into it, I really realized they were incomplete because
Mm,
I went head first, drowning in finance in the very beginning because of the nature of how I started my business. That I didn't have that opportunity to build those foundations, and like I had the vision of the goal, but I didn't know how to get there. And so being able to step that back this year really has almost propelled me forward in a lot of ways because I'm not only
yeah,
building those, but I'm also seeing that growth because I'm being intentional and reaching out, like I have a big marketing plans, but haven't put any of them in place because I get sucked into the end of business.
yeah.
And right,
And
because
it's
I
so
just
easy to do. It's
It's
so
so
easy to
easy to
do.
do.
And
that's
I
the easy
think for
work, right?
me, that time in the morning that we talked about, in previous
Yep.
podcasts, that just for me, getting that time to myself,
Yeah.
I think about the day. That's
Mm,
my CEO cap is on
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And
Setting
then
your vision.
after everything else, late morning, midday, that's the operator cap is on then.
Yeah.
But the morning is the CEO. The beginning of the week, like on Sunday nights, look at
Mm,
my calendar, see where I am, what I have to do. That's the CEO talking and thinking. But yes, mine is probably in the morning, but after that, it's our operator.
yeah. You're in it then, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I want to take a second to honor both and talk about how important they both are because it's really, really normal to want to constantly be one step ahead. Like, I want to be
Mhm,
in the next thing, or I want to be doing this, or I want to be here, I want to be here. And I love that. Growth is important. Being curious is important. And so is every position in the company. And so being able to dig in and really operate well and enjoying that work, that's a beautiful thing, right? Being in the here and now
mhm,
and still making time and space for the vision. But it's fun hearing the way that this is being talked about of either for some single owner firms, it's like you said, time, like, I set the vision in the morning and then I execute. So I'm the CEO with my coffee, and then I'm the operator the rest of the day. Or Heather mentioning bringing in interns, right? Or delegating some tasks in some way and setting aside time for your vision. It's this constant dance. And then I don't know if for everybody it's the goal, but in my mind, I love the idea of being able to grow to a point where you can fully step out of operator and truly have time to focus on and expand a vision and sort of pass the baton. So it's not to
mhm,
say that you're stepping out of operator like you're done, you don't like the work anymore, you love the work and let it still be your guiding value, but be able to like invest in new growth and other people have a chance to come in
mhm.
and thrive. And I, it's just fun to think about how. Mhm.
Yeah, you're able to lead and nurture.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. You're leading. Once you're able to get fully out of it, you're still leading the company because you have the direction and the
Hmm.
vision, and
Yeah.
you're nurturing the other people that's coming up behind you that you've hired and trust to take care of the work that you used to do.
Yeah. It's speak a little bit more because the leading and nurturing is such a good reminder to something you mentioned before we went live of like, how do we release the fear and
Oh, yes.
transition from, like, do it this way, here it is, versus like, no, like, I trust you. You have to do this and let
Mhm.
the process unfold. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. For me, my fear in, being solo is I don't like getting in front of people to talk. So, but in order to market, you have to get in front of people to talk.
Yeah.
So I am trying to get out of that fear.
Hmm. That's fair.
Trying to get out of that fear and just meet new ladies and every week that we've been together, it's pushed me a little.
Yeah.
I'm getting closer. But I'm getting there because if you're an introvert, then how are you gonna market? And
Yeah.
then if you don't have it in your budget to outsource it, you're gonna have to be the one to do it. So, I guess that's a good thing because now I have to do everything. So, slowly but surely, I'm learning to, feel
Stretch you.
comfortable basically selling myself.
Yeah.
That's because that's what it is. You're selling yourself and making people comfortable enough trusting you, like, yes, they can give you their things and that you'll get it done and they'll be
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So for me, that is my biggest fear. And I'm glad you sent me those videos of Jan. They were very helpful. And I
Yeah.
saw her last live and I was like, oh my goodness, she's really good at this.
Into her. Yeah.
I just gotta get in front of the camera and just talk.
You're doing it. You're doing
Just
it.
get in
And
front
I'm
of
so
the
proud of
camera and
you.
talk. Yes. So that is my fear for me in growing the business. And I think that what has stifled me
Mm,
in growing
yeah.
is, getting out there because it's been every most of the clients that I've had, it's been word of mouth. I've never
Yeah.
had to like really put myself out there to market. So now that I'm trying to do this on a bigger scale, it's like I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I
It's
need
vulnerable.
yes, I need
Yeah.
the what you call that you put around your waist to jump in the pool so you float back
Oh,
up?
like a little floaty, a life preserver.
Yes, that's what I need, the
Yes.
floaty.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely I'm definitely getting out of my comfort zone and learning new things and practicing. So you guys have been great for me.
Well, it's a good way to help conquer your fears to start small. So, for me, community is a huge piece of that. To me, community can be like the shallow end, like you have
Mhm,
people to lean on, you're bouncing ideas off of each other, you're finding your stride. That's so important. You don't have to just jump off of the boat straight into the ocean and pretend like you can magically do it all on your own. Like, to me,
mm-mm,
that's not how I feel the best conquering fear. I like
mm-mm,
to step into it gently and sort of really understand how to navigate one thing well and then the next thing and build on it. And it's amazing how fear is like this tense knot, and then you slowly just gently try new things and it releases. And then you get to
mhm.
be afraid of something else.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Cold calling.
Heather, how do you navigate that? How are you navigating the fear piece and then transitioning from operator to CEO or just in general?
I was actually gonna say, I love that you said like stepping into it, right? Because
Yeah.
we're afraid, like everything. And I would dare say I have fear on both sides, so I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I'm afraid of failing. Like I'm afraid that everything I've put into this, everything I've done is gonna fail. And then what am I gonna do? But then I have to remind myself that I've made it this far because I take those little steps, because I work at it. And then I step into that maybe that next level or that next stage of building the business. But then I also have this fight of fear of success. And I don't know if that's like imposter syndrome. I don't know what
Yeah.
that piece is, but I'm afraid to step towards something too. Because
Mhm,
I'm afraid of that success. I'm afraid, what if I had tons of clients tomorrow? What would I do? Because I
Yeah.
don't have it in the budget. I can't take on more work at this point. And so I kind of feel like theater is on both sides of the spectrum for me, and I'm stuck in the middle. But stepping into that, like taking those next steps and not holding myself back is the
Yeah.
biggest thing. And I think, like Couple was saying, like we're we're moving a little bit at a time, and finding community, finding people who can help us through, talk us through the
Yeah.
pieces of it, I think is super important. And I think that has been our biggest goal as we've met. It's just helping each other walk through that next step, because the fears are huge, but those little steps along the way get
Yeah.
us to those fears without the fear of getting there. And
mhm,
and then I think too, like we were talking about, changing from the operator to the CEO. And I think that comes with with that experience over time of taking those steps along the way. And
Mm,
all of us got here because we wanted to do what we were good at, like we were good at this piece of it, we were good at accounting, we were good at bookkeeping, and we wanted to build something out. And so I think as we build, as we move forward, like being able to pass the top on down and build ourselves up as we go, I think
Mhm.
is kind of what helps me. It gives me the excitement to face here.
Mhm. Yeah, 'cause, Heather, I would never thought that, you're holding some type of fear because you were the one that actually got us all together.
yeah,
And every now and then I see you post something and, you know, I would have never thought that. So
yeah.
looks are deceiving, as they say.
Like it's
And then
deceiving,
with
yes,
me,
it's all
people meet
internal.
me yeah, when people meet me, like, that know me, they would never think that I have this fear, like, fear of success. What's that's gonna look like? "Ooh, what if I fail?" So and I tell my nieces and nephews this all the time. You are what you think. You always have to think positive.
Yeah.
But then I feel like an imposter because I'm like, ooh, what if that doesn't work? Oh,
You know what?
I'm afraid to do that.
Yeah.
And so sorry guys if you're listening, but yes, Auntie has fear things too. But you
It's
are
human.
absolutely right. Yes. You
I don't
are
know if
what
I
you
believe
think.
in failure, to be honest. It's been keeps coming up for me in so many different ways, and part of me is like, failure is like a brain construct that I don't really know if I believe in anymore. And there's two quotes that keep coming to mind. So earlier this week, Jen and I went to get fresh headshots for the website, and one of the things that the gentleman said, he was awesome. He has it on the back of his phone, and he said, "You either win or you learn. Like there's no win or lose. You win or you learn." And another quote that I
That's true.
loved, yeah, it is true, right? You win or you learn, but you didn't fail. You just learned something. Einstein loved to talk about that, right? And then the other one is that uh, there is no such thing as failure when the goal is experience. So if you can reframe your mindset, like we're all trying to learn what works and build our firm. And so yes, I understand that failure as a word is real. Like if you are aiming for a goal and you miss, technically, okay, fine, it's fail. But it's so much more nuanced than that because if you showed up and you tried, that's huge. That to me is a huge win. If you tried and it didn't work, that is still a huge win. You learned something, right? You learned
Mhm.
how to refine. You've gotten yourself that much closer to the goal. And so I think it can be really tricky when we talk about being afraid of failure or let our minds wobble around with the idea of failure because it keeps us in the stuck headspace of what if, which is so restrictive. It doesn't allow us to move forward and take the next step and learn and transition into whatever it is that we need to learn. And so I loved that quote that his name was Nick that he shared with us, which is, yeah, I either win or I learn. And it's just like get after
Mhm.
it. Fumble again.
Mhm.
Go take another step. Do whatever it is that you need to do. And I think maybe that is maybe one of the mindset shifts we can take when transitioning from operator into, visionary is you win or
Mhm.
you learn, or there is no such thing as failure when the goal is experience. Like we're going to keep moving forward, not
Mhm.
backward. And if it fumbles, we shift, we pivot, we try
Mhm.
something new.
That's great.
And
That's a great
I think
statement.
we only can tell if we get on the house that we will, because we did, we win and run, but we only fail if
We,
Right.
I'm
You win or
so
you
sorry. We
learn because
only,
you learn what not to do the next time around.
yeah, yes,
Mhm.
very that. Okay, perfect. Well, this is a good transition into our growth edge. So, what are we going to go fail at this week? So, now, now that we've kind of shared how we're navigating this, I want to present a challenge to our listeners, and then we'll transition into our growth edge. And to you guys, the challenge for this week is to identify one place where you're operating instead of leading. And so for the single owner firms where you're like, yeah, I'm operating and leading. I'm doing both. Maybe think about one area where you really are just stuck. Like you are just stuck in the pit, in the nitty-gritty. You haven't really identified how to enhance the process or how to move it forward, and give yourself a chance to switch ball caps with that. And then really think about, am I doing this because it truly requires me? Like, is this really the best way to do it? Or is it because I'm comfortable and familiar? Am I not implementing a new software or learning a new tool because I already know what to do and it's comfortable? And even though it takes me 5 hours a week on this task, it would take me 15 to learn how to expedite it, and I'm not ready to do that, right? So play with that a little bit. And then once you've identified that and really sat with it, take a step toward that CEO level thinking. So either delegate it, so either implement a new system or a new tool, um, which systemize it, or step out of it entirely. Maybe you don't need to be doing that task. Maybe we're just doing what we were told to do. Maybe we're following up on, I don't know, some nerd lead nurturing sequence that is not generating results that we need. Or maybe we're manually maintaining a spreadsheet because we haven't taken the time to integrate a system. Really see where you can step out of that and shift. Um, because stepping into the CEO role isn't about doing less just for the sake of doing less. It's about getting rid of the stuff that's not essential. It's about making sure that you're focusing on the things that move the business forward instead of just staying comfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the challenge. Where am I choosing comfort over growth? And before we wrap up, let's talk about our growth edge. So, what are we each committing to this week to move ourselves forward? Not a huge, overwhelming shift. That's a quick way to be like, I'm going to do this and then never do it again. But intentional actions that can move us from operator to owner, or, that can help us move forward.
Listen, I have a full slate coming at me this summer and different things my kids are interested in and stuff. For me, like I'm really looking at what can I like, is there another software here or is there something else I can do to just decrease some of my in the business work, just so that I can focus more on what I want to focus on too, and spend some time with kids for the summer and work on that next step. So it's kind of small, but just kind of in that research and discovery mode of what is there and what can I do? Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, mine is, as I told you guys earlier, I am switching over to the Microsoft platform. I don't know. Right now I'm the operator because I'm the one implementing everything. And if I have issues, I call Microsoft and they walk me through it for an hour. So, I think once I get that, and the goal to that is once I get that system running, then I'm able to, everything is more streamlined. So I'm not totally hands-on. A lot of things would be automated. So that would be nice, freeing up my time to do marketing, getting in front of folks,
Yeah.
practicing that and doing it that, growing the business, executing the vision of what I want it to look like in the next few
Terrific.
months.
I love that. My growth edge was more of a release this week. I have been sort of holding on to the website because it's one of those things where it's a very expensive process. It's very like it changes a lot. I want to make sure I fully understand the platform. We decided recently to outsource that process to a local web design firm, and it is life-giving. Like when you
Good.
see somebody who is in their zone and fully understands it instead of trying to execute on something that you're just learning for the first time. I'm very green. I don't know. I'm figuring out these tools, but she's so like direct, which is so nice. And she's like, "Yeah, you're not a web designer. Like, good job. You've done great.
Mhm.
And let me take it from here." And I'm like, "Hallelujah." Thank you so
Mhm.
much because that has, I think, brought tremendous growth. It's going to be, once it goes live, profoundly helpful for the business. It's going to be able to adequately portray the vision that we have for the businesses that are supporting and really outline who we are and be way
Mhm.
less utilitarian and just checking boxes. But I think
Mhm.
sometimes the biggest growth you can take is asking for help. And
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be as big of a thing as, like, I know that investing in a new web build can be a big thing for people, but sometimes it's going on Fiverr or reaching out to a friend or joining a community collaborative space. Heather, you're so good at filling those, but my growth edge has really
Mhm.
been, I think, being aware of what my limitations are and where I'm a bottleneck and saying, like, okay, I am no longer the best option here. Let's ask for help. And I am excited to see what unfolds there. But
Mm. I'm glad you said that, thinking that you're able to do everything. Oh, websites, I can do that.
yeah.
But then when you start doing it for me, because I
Mhm.
started out that way, and with all the AI tools, I let somebody get them. Oh, with all these AI tools, you'll be able to do it. I tried. Mm-mm. Nope. Not doing that. But I know how I want it to look like. And
Yeah,
so if you can
it's still
convey
valuable.
that to the person who's doing it, then that's a whole lot of pressure off your plate.
There is truth. I do want to empower that statement of, like, with all of the AI tools, like, you can do it. That is true. You can,
Mm.
but the outcome is not going to be the same as somebody who specializes in this day in and day out. It's like um, relying on auto rules instead of having an accountant do your books, right? It's not going to be the same thing.
Exactly.
We're not going to get the same
Exactly.
level.
And you're wasting a month trying to get it together when they could do it in a week. You
Yeah.
could be doing
Yes.
something else.
Yes. And should be probably putting on your CEO cap.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
awesome. Well, is there any other little um, tidbit or seed for growth that either of you two want to share with our listeners today?
I think touched on it just a little bit. Your mindset,
Yes.
how you think, what you think, that would go far.
It changes everything, doesn't it?
Because if you think you can't, you won't.
Yeah. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I know that's
Mm,
as cliche as it goes. It's on
it
every
is.
other classroom wall, but it is
Mhm.
true.
It's
It's
true.
true.
So I
Yeah.
need to start shifting my mindset, like, oh, I'm so terrified of public speaking and start saying, I'm gonna knock that down.
Yes, your voice has value and you do
Hmm.
know a lot and you can share what you know. And the other pressure, for the record, just to share, is like people also have choice of whether or not they want to listen. And so if they don't want to listen, great, scroll on. No worries.
Yeah.
No harm to you.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
well, thank you both. And thank you for everybody who joined for spending time with us in the accountability room. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with somebody who's ready to step into their next level of leadership. And join us next week when we discuss the growth edge I didn't expect. So, thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Bye.